Getting inside the 4300-SX isn't too difficult. There's a couple screws that hold the back panel on. And now that we're inside, we can see the back side of the mechanism. And here is the cam right here. You can see operates, that does the automatic shut off at the end. And we're going to have to remove some things to get better access, because we will have to do some soldering too, not just messing with the wires here. So I'm going to remove this harness clip. And then there's these two screws here that holds the micro switches to the front of the chassis. Remove those. And at this point you can see part of that broken part. On this machine that I had to make a new one of. Okay. Here's the one in my 4300-SX. You can see that whole corner has been sheared off. Here's the one out of the 3440 that was used as a template. You can see that they both seem to have suffered the same sort of failure mode. It broke up near that top screw hole probably first, and then it broke out at the bottom. This one did not get to that stage yet, but it probably would eventually. And then of course, here's the new one made of aluminum that's going to replace the original. Continue removing the switches here. There's the other screw out. Here's the two micro switches. I'll have to heat these up and remove the wires, unsolder them so I can solder the new switches in. Here's one of the new switches. Little bit of advice here. I went ahead and got new switches made in Japan. They were $6 each. I could have bought the Chinese ones for about $1 a piece, but I doubt they would last for 40 years like these did. And you can see what they look like when that cam fails, where it gets punched out where the plunger goes. And in fact, this one here have a little bit of a piece of a Q-tip. The handle of a Q-tip stuck in there to hold it in the playing position, so I could at least test the rest of the deck out. But this is where this plunger came from. You can see how much of the body of this switch was broken out when the stop wasn't there anymore to stop that cam from coming around. And if I turn the recorder a little bit here, zoom in a little, you can see there's the cam right here that activates the switches and stops against that stop. There's the insulator card that goes between the two micro switches. It has a spring attached to it That's the spring that provides the spring tension on the lever. And I'm trying to get it off of there. It's not really necessary to remove it. It looks to be like it's in good shape. A little bit of a funkiness on the end of the spring, but I don't think that will affect anything at all. So the next step is to simply heat these up, melt that solder, or remove these. We'll do them one at a time, and solder the new ones in. I got the new switches I have contacts that are made for quick disconnects. I'm not going to utilize the quick disconnects. I'm just going to solder back on. You can see they're a little bit larger than these terminals here are. You can see that terminal is a solder terminal, and this is a terminal for use with a quick disconnect. And here's an example of a quick disconnect that would go with a terminal such as this. And actually these terminals are narrower than this, so they would actually be made for the narrower version of these. I don't think I actually have any of the narrower versions. Dig through my little container here of quick disconnect terminals. That was a fully insulated quick disconnect. This is a regular quick disconnect that only has the insulated shank, and you can see the flag. You can see it's too narrow up here, so this is the wrong size. They make these in two different sizes. You see, this would be made to work with a terminal that's this wide. Okay, see how much wider that is, how much a better fit that is. I believe that's a .250, and this is a .187. I'm not 100% sure on that. Might be wrong on those numbers, but just please keep that in mind. Alright. Gotta go get the soldering iron, and we'll solder these, heat these up, and redo them. So, see you there.